So friends, welcome once again to the Unit 1 of Class 12 Macroeconomics, that is National Income and Related Aggregates. Over here we will talk about all the basic things that we need to know in the unit National Income and Related Aggregates. See, for an economy to run smoothly and for its basic functioning, there are three basic economic activities that are needed to be done for an economy to run. And that the first one is production. Because until and unless the production is done, our wants, our demands cannot be satisfied. So production basically is nothing but it is conversion of the inputs into output. So converting the raw material into finished goods so that they are capable of satisfying our wants is called as production process. So it is obvious that when we talk about production process, it is the process of converting input into output, and where the raw materials are converted into the finished goods, and these are basically conducted by the production units that are called as firms or industry. So production is the first basic activity that forms the main activity, one of the main activity of an economy. The second one is the consumption. Whatever things are being produced in an economy are produced so that it can satisfy our wants. So consumption is done by us. Being the household sector, we need to utilize the production process. So whatever goods and services are produced by the production sector that are consumed by us, means we utilize the utility of the various goods and services that are produced in an economy. So consumption is the second important basic economic activity of an economy. And the third important economic activity is called as the capital formation, which can also be called as the investment. So capital formation is the third important activity of an economy, which can also be called as investment. So it is quite obvious that as a consumer, when we consume the various goods and services, that consumption leads to the formation of capital in the economy. Means whatever we consume, we pay for that particular things, and that payment leads to capital formation, and that becomes the investment in the economy, and this investment again boosts up the production process. So due to this, all the three economic activity, the various activities in the economy keeps on going, and that makes the economy function well, and that can again lead to growth and development of an economy. The faster the circular flow among these three parts, greater will be the growth of an economy. So these are the three basic economic activities: production, that is production of goods and services, physical goods and services for our own satisfaction, that is output is a function of input; consumption, that is utilizing the utility of goods and services for our direct satisfaction of demands and wants; and capital formation or investment is the income which is generated from consumption process, which is being spent by us, gets converted into investment or capital formation. So these are the basic activities. So in short, what we can say over here, we can say that there are three phases which are necessary for an economy to run. The first phase is called as the phase of production, that we have already discussed. The phase of production is the first thing that we will discuss. So phase of production, as I told you, is the production of the output from the given inputs in the economy. So this phase of production is the basis which generate the other economic activity, or that leads to other economic activities. When this phase of production is done, that leads to the second phase, and the second phase is the phase of income generation. See what happens actually, phase of income generation, how it has been possible. We as a household sector provide the producers with the various inputs needed for the production process. These inputs are in the form of land, labor, capital, entrepreneur. These are the four basic factors of production: land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. So these four factors of production provided by the household sector to them. When they produce the things, we, in return for providing this land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship, we get the income. For example, for land, we get rent. For labor, we get wages and salaries. For the capital, we get interest on that. And for entrepreneurship, we get the profit as a reward for contributing to the production process. So production phase leads to the income generation phase. So because of our contribution to the production sector, they provide us the various income in the form of rent, interest, profit, wages, and salaries. These are the reward for contributing to the production process. And when this income is generated, but obvious that when the income is generated, it will lead to the phase of expenditure. What will we do out of this income? Obviously, we will make expenditure on the various goods and services that are produced by the production sector. So phase of expenditure, third means production leads to income generation. They utilize land, labor, capital, entrepreneur. That leads to phase of income generation in the form of rent, wages, salaries, interest, and profit. And whatever we earn out of this process, we finally make an expenditure on various goods and services. When this expenditure is made, again this expenditure gets converted into the investment, and that investment finally again goes to the producers to further increase the production. So it is quite obvious that if this production, income generation, expenditure process in the economy is faster, the rate of growth of GDP and national income will also be a faster growth. So these are the basic economic activities which are needed for an economy to run and for the growth and development of an economy. So over here, these three phases leads to the circular flow of income. Over here, when we talk about the circular flow of income, we mean to say that the income keeps on circulating among the different sectors of the economy. And this different sectors of the economy, what they do, they are helpful for further increase in the growth of the economy. Let us understand certain things about this. See, circular flow of national income, when we talk about, over here we are talking about the circular flow. So let's take up this thing, circular flow. To understand this thing, first we need to know that there are always four important sectors of an economy because of which the income is generated or the circular flow is possible. There are four sectors in economy. Four sectors are, the first one is the household sector. We as a consumer are called as the household sector. So the first one is the household sector. So household sector, or in other words we can say that the consumers are the first one, and being a consumer, being the household sector, our main activity is consumption. So let us denote it by the capital C. So consumption is the basic activity that is done by the people of the country or the consumers of a country or of a nation. The second important sector is the producer sector. When we talk about the producer sector consists of all the units which are engaged in production of goods and services. This producer sector, their main work is to make investment. Okay. So over here, producer sector, what they do, they are generally meant to make investment in the economy. So their work is mainly investing the money for earning more profit from the activities that they are doing. The third sector, see, consumer sector, we are having main motive of satisfying our wants. Similarly, producer sector, they have the main motive of earning profit from the activities. The third sector which is needed for the smooth functioning is the government sector. Because there are various activities that are not conducted by the private sector, So government sector has to play its role over here. So the government sector is the third important sector that plays its role in the economy, and it is also a very important sector. So government, what it does, it takes care about not only the production of goods and services, but even it takes care of the social welfare of the people, so that those activities which are not done by the private sector are undertaken by the government sector, so that the people's social welfare and other needs can also be taken care of. And today we are living in a global world. So being a part of the global world, we cannot deny the fourth very another important sector of the economy, that is called as the rest of the world. That is all the other countries of the world. So rest of the world apart from our country, whatever countries we are dealing with, that comes under the fourth category, rest of the world. So rest of the world, what we do with rest of the world? Certain things we are having advantages of production, so we export those goods to the other countries. So exporting to the other countries to earn income from that is considered as one of the important factor, and in economics we denote it with the capital X. So export is one of the important part of dealing with the other parts of the world. Similarly, those goods which we cannot produce in our country and we need to import from other country comes in the second category. So that is the part of the imports. So basically with the rest of the world, what we do, we export the goods to them to earn income, and we import the goods from them for satisfying the wants of the people which we cannot produce in our country. So basically it is, if we talk about the national income, the four sectors have this sum total C plus I plus G plus X minus M. This is the sum total of the GDP of the country or the national income. That are four sectors together if we take up one, and if we add up all this, consumption plus investment plus government sector plus export minus import is the rest of the world. These four sectors all together leads to the calculation of the national income. But over here the thing is needed to be taken care of, that over here we are learning about the introductory macroeconomics. That is why we will only limit ourselves to the first two sectors. Our study of 12th class is limited only to the first two sectors. We are dealing with only two sector economy, and that is why our part will deal with this consumption and investment part only. But we have to take care of various things. This is the basic about the things. Now we will gradually talk about the various things that we need to know about the national income. Now moving further, when we talk about the producer sector, we must know that when we talk about the production process or the producers, the production is done of various type of goods. Production is not done only about certain goods only. They are basically being into different parts. So let us discuss about this thing. Production sector is one of the sector, and second we were talking about the consumption sector. So basically these are the two sectors. Okay. So for understanding the circular flow, let us get into the details. So let us see that what these two sectors do in the economy and how the circular flow actually works. So let us draw a flow chart over here that will make us understand the circular flow of national income. So let us take the first one over here first, where we talk about the two sectors. As I told you, the first one is the household sector. So household sector are the consumers. Okay. So we being the first important sector of the economy, this is our part, and the another one is the producer sector. Okay, so that is the producer sector, or we can call them as firms or firms. So these are the two sectors of an economy. Now see what happened. As I told you, we being the household sector, what we do? Household sector provide the basic requirement of the producer sector for their production process to be taken care of. Producer sector cannot produce without the four basic factors of production. So household sector owns, they are the owners of these four factors of production. So we provide them the land, we provide them the labor, we provide them the capital, we provide them the entrepreneur. So these are the four important factors of production that we own. We are the owners of this: land, labor, capital, entrepreneur. So when we provide these four services to the producer sector, it is but obvious that we are not providing them at a free cost. We get in return the factor cost for that. We get rewards for that. So for whatever services we provide in the form of land, labor, capital, entrepreneur, for the land, we in return get rent for that land. Okay, so we get rent for the land. Labor gets wages and salaries. Okay, so wages are for per day and salaries is a package that is given annually or for the monthly basis. For the capital, we get interest on the capital that we have invested. So interest is being paid for providing capital to the producer sector, and profit, the fourth part, we get for the entrepreneurship. Being a producer or being the entrepreneur, the person is taking the risk of production process, he gets profit for that. So we provide, household sector provide land, labor, capital, entrepreneur to the producer sector for conducting production activity, that is converting input into output, and in return we get the factor payments. For factor services, we get factor payment in the form of rent, wage and salaries, interest as well as profit. So this is the first basic thing. Now it is but of course that when we provide this all things to the producer sector, they are doing something with that. What they are doing? They are producing goods and services for us. So the producer sector, what they do? They produce goods and services from land, labor, capital, entrepreneur. So basically their work is to produce the things. So goods and services they provide to us. But again, that is not provided at freely to us. And for this, what we are doing? We are making expenditure on goods and services. We are purchasing this goods and services from them, and we pay back them the money. So this is how the circular flow of income keeps on going. So when we give them land, labor, capital, entrepreneur, we in return get goods and services produced by them, and for providing land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship, we get rent, wages, salaries, interest and profit, and for goods and services we make payment to them and we make expenditure on goods and services. So this is how the income keeps on circulating between the two sectors of the economy without any interruption. But the question again arises that in an economy these are not the only two sectors, the four sectors we are not talking about, but over here, say for example, if we talk about that there are certain limitations, or we can say there are certain other aspects of this circular flow of national income also. Let us take that also in consideration. We also have a financial system or money market in the economy. We also have a money market. Money market, when we talk about the banks, the insurance companies. So this all also exists over here. So the question arises that what happens if the money market is also there? Again, I am repeating this. Money market is also called as the financial system, that refers to the banks, the share market and the other financial systems which exist in the economy. So what happens? Even with the existence of the money market, there is not much difference made to the circular flow, and the circular flow of income does not stop anywhere. How come? See, whatever income we are generating, what we can do? either we can make the expenditure, or what will we do? We will save our income. So this savings, the savings from the consumer sector as well as the savings from the producer sector goes to the money market, means they are deposited either in the banks or either they are being invested in the different market forms like insurance and other investment options. And in return, this money market, they make us available with the loans, so we are borrowing from them. We both the sectors of the economy borrows from them. So in case of the existence of money market, both the sectors, they deposit or they make their saving deposited into the or invested in the money market. So saving goes to the money market from both the sectors, and that money which is saved in the money market is again borrowed by both the sectors, whether it is a personal loan, it is a car loan, it is an industrial loan, or any type of loan that are given to the industrial or household sector. So even after the existence of the money market, the circular flow of income does not vary a lot. So this is the basic model of a two-sector economy where we need to explain the circular flow of income. So when a question comes in circular flow of income, this is the kind of flowchart that we'll make, and we will explain the that in a form of paragraph or in the points system also. So this is all about the circular flow of income. Now over here I want to make certain basic concepts clear over here. See, over here you can see two things: land, labor, capital, entrepreneur. And over here goods and services. See, land, labor, capital, entrepreneur, these are not in money terms. Money we are getting for this, but these are physical factors. Okay, so when this flow is going from household sector to the producer sector in the form of land, labor, capital, entrepreneur, it is considered as, this is called as the real flow. Why it is called as real flow, I will explain it to you later in the coming part. Similarly, for that return again we get the goods and services. So goods and services over here is also the same real flow, because again it is not in the term of money, it is goods and services which are physically present. So this physical things, land, labor, capital, entrepreneur, goods and services, this all are called as real flow. Whereas the another part, the another two arrows that we have not included in the first part comes under the money flow, because over here we are getting that things in money. For example, rent we get in money terms, wage and salaries is paid in the money, interest is paid in the money terms, profit is paid in the money terms. Similarly, expenditure that we make on goods and services, whatever we purchase from the shops, we make expenditure in the money form. So this part as well as this part, this and this comes under the money flow. So wherever there is a direct flow of money, that is called as the money flow in the form of rent, wages, salaries, interest, profit, expenditure on goods and services. These two things comes under the money flow, and wherever there is a physical flow of things or services or goods, that is called as the real flow. So over here, land, labor, capital, entrepreneur is a physical flow, that is why it is called as real flow. Similarly, goods and services are also the physical products. So physical products are again called as the real flow. So these are real flow and these are the money flow in the economy. Let us now in detail, let us talk about this real flow and the money flow. It is quite simple to understand and very easy to remember also the concept of the real flow and the money flow. So over here let us take these two concepts into the discussion, real flow and the money flow. See, the term itself makes it clear to you. Real flow and money flow are not very difficult to understand. It's quite simple. Real and money, the word makes them clear. Again, real flow means flow of goods and services. Over here we are not talking about the money. So flow of goods and services, when we talk about it, is the term which is including the real flow, whereas over here we talk about the flow of money. Here we are not talking about the flow of goods and services. We are directly talking about the flow of money straight over here. So it is over here, these are physical flow. As I told you earlier also, this is a physical flow. Physical products in the form of goods and services for which we exchange between the different sectors of the economy. On the other hand side, when we talk about the money flow, it is quite obvious that these are also known as the nominal flow. It is also known as the nominal flow. So, in other words, if we talk about the basic activities, we could talk about this, that when we talk about flow of goods and services, it is real flow. When we talk about the flow of money, it is money flow. It is the physical flow among the different sectors of the economy, where this is the nominal flow among the different, because nominal is not considered in the real term. Real terms are the physical products that are being considered more important. Now, whenever we talk about this circular flow, again we need to understand that the various sectors of the economy has not always a smooth functioning. See, we have talked about the circular flow, okay? And when we talk about the circular flow of the income, that circular flow has certain things which goes out of the circular flow and that are again being injected into circular flow. So over here we will again talk about the things. See, for example, if we talk about the circular flow, you people might ask that we do not spend the whole income. Whatever we earn, we do not spend the entire income on expenditure. We keep certain part of that income in the form of savings. So that savings is gone out of the circular flow of income. So that part which goes out of the circular flow of income, that are called as leakages, because they get leaked. So leakages are that part of the circular flow which gets out of the circular flow because of the various reasons. Similarly, this another part is when the savings, I talked about that in the previous part, that whatever money we save, that we either deposit in the bank or we invest it. So when the savings are invested, that becomes the injections, means we inject that money in the economy. Injections are another important part of the economy. So over here, when we talk about the leakages and injections, see, let us understand it with a very simple example. Say for example, what we are talking about the leakages. So see what happens, out of whatever income we have earned, what we will do, we will save certain income from that, okay? We will pay some part as income tax to the government. Certain income is gone for payment of the import that we have made, we have done from the other countries. So this savings, taxation and the payment of the import bills, this is gone out of the circular flow. That is why they are called as leakages. Means they are not now the part of the circular flow. But on the other hand side, when we talk about the saving that gets converted into the investment, let us get the clear-cut idea about all these things, that what this has. See, leakages are those variables. These are the variables. Those variables which have negative impact, on the circular flow. Negative impact in the sense they reduce the circular flow because they are drawn out of the circular income. So circular flow of the income is negatively affected by the leakages. So they have a negative impact on the means they are withdrawals. So as they are the withdrawals from the national income or from the circular flows, they have a negative impact on the circular flow. Whereas these variables, injections, because they are injected in the economy, these variables have positive impact on the circular flow. Positive impact in the sense, when we talk about a positive impact, means they increase the flow of income or circular flow of income in the economy. So over here these are withdrawals and these are the injections, or these are the investments being done. So these are investments. So this is another part. So these are investments being made, or these are the injections. So withdrawals are one part, whereas these are withdrawals and these are the additions, you can say. These are the additions that are made to the circular flow. So first 2 points should be clear. They have negative impact on the circular flow. They have the positive impact on the circular flow. These are the withdrawals from the circular flow of income, and injections are additions to which is being made to the circular flow. So additions, obviously whenever something is added, it makes a positive impact. Over here another part. So reduces flow and services. What happens whenever there are leakages, they reduce the demand of goods and services, because if we save the amount, we are not demanding as much as we can. So they reduce the demand of goods and services in the economy, leakages, whereas they, on the other hand side, the injections, they increase the demand for goods and services in the economy. So basically what we should remember what are the examples. So savings, whatever amount we are saving from our income will be the part of leakages, because we are withdrawing that amount from the circular flow. We are not making that circular flow smooth over there. Similarly, whatever tax we are paying, so taxation is another part. Whatever that and indirect taxes we are paying, that is again being leaked from the circular flow. And similarly, whatever imports means whatever we are importing from the other country, we have to make the payment for that. So that amount doesn't remain in our circular flow of income, that goes outside the circular flow. So savings, taxation and imports, these three things are the best examples of leakages from the circular flow of an economy. Now similarly, very easy to remember the examples of the injections. Whatever savings we deposit or whatever savings we are making in the financial market, that saving finally gets converted into investments. What happens? We save our money and we get 4% interest from the bank, and that bank again is providing it as a loan to some other sector, and they are taking 10 to 12% of interest on various types of loans. So that is the second. The first example is investment. Similarly, taxation, when we talk about whatever amount we pay as a tax, apart from that, what we else we do? We make consumption expenditure also. So over here, we must need to understand and remember that consumption is a good habit. Although in India it is not a good habit, or it is not a good practice in India households to make a consumption expenditure. We are always being told to save more. But those countries which believe more in consumption expenditure, means where consumption is more, means people believe in spending more. Over there the economy is growing faster, because the circular flow of income becomes faster over there. So consumption is the opposite part of the taxation part. So consumption if we make, then it will lead to increase in the circular flow of income. Let's talk about the third one. Now see, it is quite obvious. Then when we talk about the imports over here, we will be talking about the exports over here. If we are paying for the imports, whatever imports we are making, we have to make the payment for that. Similarly, when we export the goods to the other countries, we get money from the other nations. So it is added to the circular flow. So again, that is why all the countries of the world, they always try to have more exports and less imports. The larger the share of the export in an economy, the economy tend to grow more rapidly than an economy with higher imports, because it is quite obvious that for imports we have to pay For the export, we earn. So if earning is more than the payments or expenditure, then it is good for the economy. So this is another part of our topic, leakages and injections. That are leakages are the variables which have negative impact on circular flow. Injections have the positive impact on the circular flow of national income. Leakages are the withdrawals from the national income. Injections are the additions to the national income. Leakages reduces the demand of goods and services in economy because we are withdrawing that. Injections increase the demand of goods and services. Examples are saving, taxation, imports, and over here the example injections are investment, consumption expenditure, and exports. So in this particular video, we will limit ourselves to this part only. In the second part, we will continue our topic, national income and related aggregates. My name is Navinder Singh, so please subscribe to this. Navinder Singh over here. This is the first video on national income and related aggregates, and I will soon come up with the other parts of this particular unit. It is quite simple, it is lengthier, but if you understand the concept, you can easily remember them. So till then, stay safe, take care of yourself, and keep on watching my videos on the different topics. Thank you.